What's up, everybody? Welcome to BioS 3 Raw TV. Big announcement, one that I'm super excited about. And, since the pandemic started, obviously we haven't really had the expos anymore. And the expos were kind of on the decline a little bit before, after Rich Piana passed away and CT wasn't going to him because of his heart troubles. We noticed that the vibe had changed at these events, and it was not what it once was. Whatever. Still, the expos are a great time, and it lets a lot of like-minded people come together and share, a weekend just hanging out, talking about the shit that they like and they like to do in their lifestyles, etc., and meeting new people, meeting up with old friends. The Olympia is coming up, and that is something that a lot of people come from all over the place. Like if you go to like the Europa expos, it's very much localized. If you go to the LA Fit Expo, it's kind of localized, people from that area, in California. But the Olympia and the Arnold bring people from everywhere. So myself and my wife Erin are both going to be at the Titan Medical booth at the Olympia Expo. And I am so excited to be back at an expo. Since the pandemic started, obviously we didn't have expos, but the ones that we've had have been little ones, like little small things, people kind of testing out the waters to see what's going on. But this one's supposedly going to be a good sized full expo, maybe not the size of, when it's in Vegas, but being in Orlando, it's supposed to be one of the best times that we've had since, the opening of the country again. So I'm super excited to be going again, getting back on the road. Erin hasn't been to any events at all. We're excited to be going. And Titan, of course, has always had our back. They're a great company. We've been working with them for years. So to be able to get out there, and the best part is we get to see you guys. We get to see you guys face to face. We get to shake hands. We get to thank you for the support that you've given us throughout the years, but also have a conversation about whatever it is. Get to know you, because you guys know me from the videos. You really do know me. I don't really know you guys, but I get to know you guys face to face like that, and that's the best part of the expos. I love that part. It energizes me, and it motivates the shit out of me to meet you guys. So if you guys are going to be at the Olympia Expo, make sure you stop by the Titan booth, say what's up, take some pictures, let's have a conversation, ask questions, whatever. Let's do it. We're getting back to normal, and I'm just super excited to be going, guys. We got 9 days from now, and we'll be there. I'm super excited. Now, that being said, that announcement aside, I started looking at who was competing in the Olympia now. And I said, well, for the first time in like 20 years, Dexter Jackson's not going to be there. He's retired. So that opens up like a spot usually in that top 5. I mean, unless Dexter was way off. That top, maybe, let's say, top 7, it opens up a spot, right? I said, shit, well, Edward, Bonac, we're not sure whether or not he's going to get there. He couldn't make the Arnold due to something with COVID or restrictions or whatever is going on. So, Bonac might not actually be there. Hopefully he gets this situated and he'll be there, but he may not be there. So that's 2 people that normally in those top spots that it opens it up for. We know Phil Heath is not going to be there. So that's a 3rd spot that opens it up, right? So I'm starting to think, all right, well, who could take those 3 spots, right? Like, who could jump into those 3 spots and take those 3 spots? We know Sean Roden, as far as I know, is not competing, right? So again, people that have won the Olympia before, guys that are usually top, they're not going to be there. So it opens up slots for people to move their way up. Now, bear with me. After seeing Nick Walker, I'm a believer. I held back. I was like, look, this kid's making a lot of, bold claims. Let's see if he can back them up. Nick Walker, to this point, is backing them up. He went to the New York Pro, won it his first time, his rookie season. He walked into the Arnold, won that his rookie season. Okay, hang on. Let's back up now. When's the last time you saw someone come out of their amateur ranks, jump into the pros, jump in top tier shows, not shows that are like entry level pros, top tier shows like the New York Pro, which used to be the Night of Champions, which was a very prestigious show, still is, and then jump into the Arnold, which would technically, by most people's standards, be the second hardest, second best show in the entire pro league, right? And he won that, and he won it decisively. I saw what was going on. I said, there's nobody beating this guy in this show. I mean, Kukla was good, Ian was good, but I'm like, they're not going to fucking beat him. Now, I kind of looked at it as like, shit, maybe this kid is not cocky. Maybe he's confident. Now, with the people that are missing in that top 7, I see Nick easily moving his way up into that top 7, depending on how everybody comes in. Now, here's another thing about Nick. He's very consistent. He's consistent with his size. He's consistent with his conditioning. He's consistent with what he brings to the stage. And I'm like, the kid is doing really good. Like, you can't knock him. He went in there and did the 2 things that he said he was going to do. Win the New York Pro when he turned pro in his first try, and win the Arnold his first try. Now, his other bold statement was he was going to win the Olympia on his first try. Now, at first I was like, this kid's crazy, right? I mean, he's never even stacked up next to these pros. But now he's taking out some of these fucking pros one by one, getting towards the Olympia. Now, the Olympia is a whole nother level, right? Olympia is the elite of the elite. They're the best in the world. Arnold's great, but the Olympia is it, right? And we've never seen him against guys that are at the Olympia. We saw him against a really good Steve Kuklo, though. I don't know if it was Steve's best, but we saw him against Steve Kuklo take him out with the Arnold. We saw him go against Ian. Ian's won pro shows. Ian's won multiple pro shows. He took Ian out. And I'm like, shit, this kid might, I mean, granted, it would be the greatest Cinderella story that I think, honestly, our sport needs right now, that I think the world needs. When you have positive things happening, when you see somebody like that has just come out of nowhere, made these statements, and gone and backed them up. You know, that's a very exciting thing. So I said, shit, now I'm looking at Nick going, where would he stack up? Now, we don't know where he stacks up until he gets on stage next to them, right? And we're going to look at some of the guys that, you know, I feel which would be the top two kind of going into this. And that would be, of course, Big Ramy and Big Brandon Curry. We'll call him Big Brandon Curry because I saw some pictures of him recently. It's fucking gigantic. We should call him Gigantic Brandon Curry. Now, where Brandon looks size-wise compared to Big Ramy, we haven't seen them standing next to each other, but I'm going to say this. I have been, and this is going to be very critical, and it's not that I don't like Ramy. I love Ramy. He's a great guy. He's fun to be around. He's always smiling. He's always positive. But as a Mr. Olympia or an ambassador like that, I feel very let down by the last year of his reign. You know, I understand he has a problem with English and stuff like that. I understand, like, restrictions and this, that. Well, here's the deal. Ramy has a contract with Tony Huge, with the Enhanced Athlete. Tony Huge knows how to make content. So at the very least, if he really wanted to get out there and keep himself promoting bodybuilding the way that a Mr. Olympia should, he could have teamed with his sponsor and created so much content on his social media that there could have been 3 to 4 videos a day talking about all kinds of shit, whether it's training, diet. I mean, it could have been anything. It could have been like how he deals with the fact of restrictions, anything, right? Because you could have a translator, whatever. You could have, you know, him training and stuff, some cool music in the background, and then have subtitles. He could speak in his own language and have subtitles, and we would love it. None of that happened. So I said, well, you know, if he's not doing that, he's not putting in the work to be the ambassador, to be Mr. Olympia, he must be in the gym fucking killing it. He must be going like, I'm just going to go fucking chin down, head forward, and keep going, and come back so improved that they won't be able to deny me a second Olympia. And then I started seeing pictures. Now, at this time last year, Ramy was much bigger than he is now. I'm watching his training videos now, and unless he's going to pull a rabbit out of a hat and magically put on, I don't know, the 20, 30 pounds of muscle, which who knows what the fuck these guys do, he looks dramatically downsized. Now, the thing about Ramy last year was, yes, his conditioning was there, but he really outsized everybody. That mass really, really fucking won it for him. It was a combination of hardness and mass. If he comes in downsized, while we see these pictures of Brandon, who is much improved size-wise, he's big as fuck, and he's dry and he's hard, and it's 9, 10 days out. There could be a gap starting to close with Brandon coming up in size and then Ramy coming down in size. It could be closing that gap to where those two might be battling it out, and it might be a hard fucking decision for the judges. I'm speculating because we haven't seen anybody on stage yet, okay? The day of the show, some people could miss it, some people could nail it. I mean, we've seen Ramy miss it more than he's nailed it, right? We've seen Brandon steadily improving, right? Getting better and better and better. That's two aspects that we, you know, as judges, we just sit there and judge what's on the stage. Well, we don't know what's going to happen until they're on that stage. So we don't know all these things, like Ramy's downsizing a little bit. Maybe he's trying to come in harder, which doesn't make any sense because he was super hard and dry last year. He had places that other people didn't even have places he had muscle on. And then Brandon's getting bigger and leaner and harder, and he looks like he's kicked it up a notch. Okay, great. Now we have a battle of those two guys, which it should be with a former Mr. Olympia and the reigning Mr. Olympia. That sounds like a good matchup. That sounds like something I want to see. It probably sounds like something you want to see. Now, not discrediting all the other athletes, right? But that's exciting to me, is to see what's going to happen based on the things that I'm seeing now. It gives me a little bit like, hey, what's going to happen that final week? What's going to happen that final 24 hours? What are they going to look like on stage finally? Is Ramy going to come in with a new package? Is he going to try to get bigger, trying to get harder? You know, we've seen Brandon, you know, increasing in size. Then all of a sudden we have that wild card, Nick Walker. Now, Nick, I mean, he's so massive for his height. He's standing next to guys that place 8th, 9th, 6th, 10th, whatever at the Olympia, and he's beating them. Steve Kuklo, these other individuals. And I'm going, he's already beating the guys that most likely a rookie would place under. He's already beating them in these other shows. So let's just play devil's advocate. He's consistent as fuck. He's going to at least come in the way he has the last couple shows, which is dry, hard, full. He looks fucking good. Massive. Could he crack the top 5? Absolutely. I think he could. That's my personal opinion. And again, we're going to have to wait to see on that day. If somebody misses their peak, and this kid is consistent like that, he's going to hurt some feelings on Olympia Day. That's just all there is to it. He hurt some feelings at the Arnold, and he hurt a lot of feelings at the New York Pro. He's going to hurt some feelings again. Now, could he, based on his crystal ball that he has, where he says he's going to win this show, he's going to win that show, he says he's going to win the Olympia. Could he win the Olympia? And I think back and I'm like, there are a lot of great bodybuilders, Hall of Fame, I mean, some of the best of all time, that came out and did not win the Olympia their first time. They got second. Flex Wheeler comes to mind. Kevin Levrone comes to mind. There are guys that not even on their rookie season, Sean Ray comes to mind, that, you know, inch their way up towards that spot, that second spot, but nobody's ever walked in and just won the Olympia their rookie season, let alone called that shot and got even close, right? Well, now here we have the situation. Like we saw Brandon last year flatten out. He flattened out and got waterier as the show went along. And Ramy, being downsized that he is now, he maintained his condition last year, but many times Ramy winds up gassing out too. Well, we have Nick, who's consistent from the minute he gets on stage to the end of the show. His physique doesn't change. I mean, he stays fucking dry, he stays full, and the kid has flexibility, okay, in his tendons, joints, muscles, pretty much everything to hit these poses a certain way that makes him look better than the other guys. So, for instance, and I wish I had a picture of this, if you look at the side tricep from the Arnold Classic with Steve Kuklo and Nick Walker, look how Nick's shoulders, you know, a lot of the guys are so inflexible, they have to put their arms behind like this, and they're like this, boom, right? See the shoulders, like the traps are pinched up? Nick is like this. He's like down straight, and he's to the side, and it makes his upper body look thick, full, dense, and he's able to control that midsection to where it's flat in that pose, and he takes his left leg and sticks it back instead of his front leg spiking. So he does the Dorian Yates style side tricep like Dorian did it with the flexibility. So when you stand him next to these guys, his physique winds up in the poses looking better than these other guys just based on how he poses because he has the flexibility somehow. And I'm looking at this going, you know, Steve has a hard time getting his arm behind his back. So did Ian. Nick put his hand behind his back, and when he shoved that tricep down, I was like, man, it's very Dorian-esque. Like, and he just, like, stoic. He's not like, like trying to get his arm behind him and stuff. He's just like, puts his hand behind him, boom, it hits the pose. And I was like, shit. In the picture, I was like, you got to be shitting me. Like, he just shits all over everyone else in that pose. And again, I'm not a huge fan of Nick. It's not like I'm like, oh, Nick's my boy. Nick's this. I'm just as shocked as many other people how good this kid is getting, how fast. I was there when he won his pro card at the North Americans. I looked at that kid and said, you got to be shitting me. When I saw him at Nationals last year, in his offseason, he walked up, he took his shirt off in the foyer. I'm standing 2 feet from him, and I'm like, you got to be shitting me. This kid is improving. And like, next thing you know, he gets a comparison like the next Dallas McCarver, all this shit. Look, we need to let Nick Walker be himself because he's doing some things right now that other people haven't done. He's an undefeated pro in the IFBB with 2 top-tier shows. His rookie fucking season. That's impressive. Now, odds are that he will not win the Olympia, right? Just based on the fact that we don't know what he looks like next to these guys, and it's a whole nother level. Now, I'm just saying that because we've never seen him next to those guys. I never saw him next to the guys at the Arnold and was shocked how good he looked. So when he stands next to them, could I see Nick at least in the top 4? Hadi Chupan will be in there, of course, right? We'll throw him in there. Could I see him in the top 4? Him, Ramy, Brandon, Hadi? Could I see that happening? I absolutely could see that happening. And that in itself is fucking amazing. That's a huge feat to have the year he did, and let's say he cracks top 4. If he cracks top 3, unfucking real. If he cracks top 2, you gotta be shitting me. If he wins the Olympia, I'm gonna pass out. I'm just gonna fucking fall down because it's making history in our sport. Like, we just don't see that. And don't get me wrong, there are great athletes out there, but sometimes that person comes along with talent, like Phil Heath, perfect example. Phil Heath, when he came in, Jay Cutler took one look at him and was like, you're gonna be Mr. Olympia one day. literally. And he went and started winning shows, winning his first pro show. When he was an undefeated pro. He went to the Arnold, and he didn't win the Arnold. But, you know, he went to the Olympia, didn't win the Olympia right away. But you could tell Phil was one of those guys that was super talented genetic-wise, and he had all the tools. Well, Nick right now, in the day and age we're in right now, Nick has all the tools. He's big, he's hard, he's lean, he's flexible, he hits his poses right. You know, he's marketable, right? He keeps up with his social media all the time. Like, new content all the time. It makes him interesting. He is, right now, in my personal opinion, the hottest thing that's on the market right now as far as bodybuilding, especially after the Arnold win. He has got people in the industry talking. He's got judges talking. He's got a lot of people talking, going, this kid isn't a joke. He's the real deal. No matter what he says on his videos about winning the Olympia, winning this, doing all this stuff, he's backing it up. So, for the first time in a while, I think the Olympia is kind of up for grabs, to be totally honest with you. I don't believe Ramy's an automatic winner. I don't believe that Brandon's an automatic winner. I believe that it's going to be a battle. I believe that it is up in the air, and I believe that, you know, it could be, you know, the top 3 we're talking about now, top 4 with Hottie in there. There could be someone else that comes out of nowhere. I don't know. Bottom line is we'll have to wait till the day that, you know, they step on stage. But I do see Nick being formidable at the Olympia if he does everything he normally does. I do, of course, see Brandon capable of winning it again. I do see Ramy capable of winning it again. You know, I see those 3 guys being able to back up the stuff that they're saying, and that's exciting. But if I had to pick one right now, if I had to say this person I think is going to win, I can't. I can't pick a winner because you just don't know. And as a judge, I've learned that now. You know, as a competitor, I thought, hey, man, you know, this person's looking good. This person's looking good. Oh, it's 2 days out. It's 24 hours out. They're going to fucking win. And then they show up the day of the show, and you're like, what the fuck happened? Some kind of last-minute voodoo bullshit ruined everything. So as a judge, I know now, look, it doesn't matter what they look like the night before. It doesn't matter what they look like at check-ins. It doesn't matter what they look like 20 minutes before going on stage. If they get on stage and they flatten out, or they get on stage and they fucking just collapse, or whatever happens, shit could go the opposite way that they want to go. So I'm going to reserve my opinion for what I see when they get on stage. And I will not be at the show itself. I'll be at the expo and stuff. So I'll have to do pictures and stuff. But I think that, you know, you'll be able to tell between these 3 individuals, and even Hottie Chupan, those 4 individuals, that they're different types of physiques. And you'll be able to spot who's winning, who's not, who's ahead, who's not, stuff like that by the time we're done with prejudging. And of course, when we get that final call out, which will probably be top 2 or 3, we'll be able to tell who's in the running and where things are going. But I think it's shaping up to a very exciting Olympia. I know that you know, a lot of people last year were excited for Ramy. I know a lot of people now are not that happy because he didn't do a lot throughout the year as Mr. Olympia, and some people gave him a pass because of COVID. Like I said, there were ways that he could have got around that. You know, and of course, if Bonac winds up in there, he's in top 5 too. He's in top 2 or 3 probably. So we have to wait to find out even if something like Bonac's going to wind up being there. So all in all, I think that it's an exciting Olympia. I think that we're going to have, you know, definitely a big change when we go back to Vegas, I think. You know, I do believe that the Olympia has a feel when it's out there in Orlando, from what I understand everybody's saying. But Jake Woods guaranteed this year it will be the biggest and best Olympia that we've had. Or will be the best Olympia that we had. That's what Jake Woods has promised. And part of that is the prize money's up to, I believe, $1.6 million now, which is the most we've ever had. So despite it being moved, it might be a little downsized at the expo and stuff like that. They're trying really hard to make this the best Olympia. Maybe not the biggest, but the best Olympia that they've ever had. And I think that just, it's on the right track to keep things going in a positive direction for all of us. This is our Super Bowl. This is our number one show that we're going to chase that look for the rest of the year. He who wins the Olympia is going to set the standard, and that's going to be chased. And I think that making it the best that you possibly can is all we can ask for, and I'm super excited. So I'll see you guys there September 8th and 9th, right? 7th, 8th, and 9th. That's what we're leaving. I'll see you guys down there. I can't wait. You guys have a great time, and we'll see you next time. I'm Biosphere, and I approve this message, and we're out.